In this video, we're taking a look at subtle signs people experience before a big win or breakthrough. This includes dreams, gut feelings, a quiet sense of certainty, or a deep inner belief. These emotional shifts, and these aren't always necessarily predictions, but they show up time and time again, often enough that they are worth paying attention to. I can't tell you how many people I have met and interviewed who have experienced this type of thing. Now, some of these stories in this video come from people that I have actually interviewed on this channel, while others come from documented stories that have been published in the media. When I interviewed Thalia, who won a little over 200,000, she described that feeling very clearly.
And it just kind of hit me like I knew I was gonna win. I just didn't know when. I didn't know how much, but I just knew. It was like clear in my head, like just like, this is what's gonna happen. I dreamt about winning the lottery. It was like deja vu to me.
Now, what stands out to me there isn't necessarily the dream itself, it's the way that it made her feel. It's the certainty that she described afterwards. And so she had had this dream about it, but did her mindset change right before the win?
No, my mindset didn't change. It was the same. We don't know when, but I just knew that it was going to happen.
And I find that oftentimes it's that quiet, persistent belief with many people that have won some of these major prizes that I speak with that shows up again and again. It's this faith that it was eventually going to happen. Another pattern people describe is much subtler. It's not a dream. It's not a vision, just a quiet inner nudge to take action without forcing or overthinking it. When I interviewed Gavin, who won $750,750,000 on a scratch ticket in California, I asked him whether he ever thought that he was going to win before it happened.
Oh, absolutely. No, I never thought if I win. I always told, I think, I don't know if it's positive thinking, because I know they're out there. The winners are out there. You can win it.
And when it came to playing the lottery, his approach stayed simple.
Just buy a little bit, and if it's your day to win, then it's going to be your day. If not, then don't give up.
And this idea with a lot of people that I interview comes up quite often. Rather than forcing an outcome, it's just responding to something when it feels right. And when people have experiences like this, whether it's a dream, an inner voice, like that inner nudge, a gut feeling, or a belief that something is going to happen, it's not always necessarily an attempt to try to see the future. Oftentimes, it's to try to make sense of what we're feeling. Some people journal, some meditate, and some people talk things through with intuitive advisors. And that's why I'm excited to announce that Psychic Source is sponsoring this video. They have been around for decades, and I have had a couple readings with them before, but I actually had a new one just the other day, and here's what happened.
You yourself, you're meant to be extremely successful, like very, very successful.
Now, with Psychic Source, you can have readings by video, phone, or even text. And if you're not satisfied, your last paid reading is free. Right now, you can try up to 40 minutes for just $19.80. Just go to trypsychicsource.com/dreambig or click the link in the description. Now, this is an affiliate link, meaning that if you click on it and make any sort of purchase, this channel will receive a small commission at no extra cost to you. And I find it interesting that a lot of times people who have experiences with their intuition or this sort of thing describe this privately, but eventually we see these stories popping up in different interviews or in news stories with some lottery winners. One example comes from Michael Poindexter in the U.S. state of Maryland. According to lottery officials, Poindexter described having a vivid dream years before his win. In the dream, he said he was holding the check. Everything about it felt real. Years later, he was reportedly at work when he felt an urge to stop and buy a couple of scratch-off tickets. He went into a store, purchased 2 crossword scratch games, and returned to his truck to play them. Now, the first ticket he scratched off was not a winner, but the second ticket, if I could be a fly on the wall, because it scored him $100,000. $100,000. Lottery officials described him as ecstatic. He later said his hands were shaking and his heart was racing after scanning the ticket and seeing the message, and I quote, "Congratulations." And although the dream that he had had about it, this feeling happened years before he actually won, he did tell lottery officials, and I quote, "Better late than never." And stories like this one really tend to stick out to me because I experienced something very similar before I won the Powerball in 1999. I had this very vivid dream that I had already won. It felt as if it had already happened. And from that time on, I believed that it was going to happen. I felt that it was going to happen. I told people that it was going to happen. But then 3 months later, it did. And I didn't dream about the numbers, but I felt this certainty that at some point it was going to happen. And hearing stories just like this one reminds me of how often these patterns show up. A belief that settles in, a nudge to act, or an image in their head that was so inspirational that it stays with them for years and they still act on it. Now, of course, none of these stories mean the same thing will happen to everyone who has a dream or a sense of certainty. But after hearing these stories again and again, it's hard to ignore how often these types of things show up. And whether you see this as intuition, psychology, coincidence, or something else entirely, one thing is for certain: it is real to these people that experience it. And I believe that paying attention to your intuition and your energy and your consciousness is extremely important. But that's me. What do you think? Have you ever had an experience of dreaming about something before it's happened, or you believed that something was going to happen strongly before it did? What are your thoughts on intuition? Put your comments below this video. I love checking out your comments. If you do play the lottery, of course, always play responsibly. Never, ever spend more than you can afford to lose, and have fun. But there are some extraordinary stories happening out there with lottery winners from all over the world, oftentimes that we meet and interview on this channel. If you want to watch any of these interviews, we will link to them with a playlist in the description of this video. Remember, destiny favors the dreamers, so dream big and smash the like button if you appreciate what we are doing here. I greatly, greatly appreciate your support, and for watching. We'll see you soon.
Because I've had this idea always since I'm writing a check that I was going to win the lottery. So when you want to request something from the universe, you let the universe work everything out because it's all out there already. I manifested the cards that I've had. I have a vision board, and in that vision board, I pinned that I wanted to go on a private plane, and I went on a private plane. I was there, and I look at that sometimes and I say, my gosh. And so many things from there that I have manifested. It tells you that everything that we speak and that we think has an immense vibration.